Monday, our panel of political strategist Grahame Morris from Barton Deakin is here with me in Canberra. Bruce Hawker, the former federal Labor strategist, with us from the Sky News Centre. Bruce, we just got to pick up on this issue. What do you feel about it? Telstra this afternoon has accepted responsibility for this, but there are more reports coming out of problems. It does no doubt raise concerns amongst many Australians about the rollout of the NBN.
Yeah, and I think that's the main thing that the government has to really deal with right now, is to make sure that there's been no exposure to citizens while the NBN's been laid. I must say, though, I thought it was a bit of a stretch by Malcolm Turnbull to lay responsibility at the feet of Bill Shorten, when clearly he'd reported the whole matter to Telstra and they had responsibility for it. But, you know, I don't think we should get into the business of, shifting responsibility. I think they really just need to get together and sort out the problem as best as they possibly can, because it would be a real reason for great anxiety amongst a lot of people who may be living near one of these sites.
Yeah, Grahame, putting aside that issue about what Bill Shorten did or didn't do in terms of correspondence, I think the bigger issue here is going to be community concern now, isn't it? Yeah. About the rollout of the NBN and these old Telstra pits.
Yeah, David, I agree with you. It looks as if we're heading for a sort of a digital pink bats. If I was in Penrith, or I was a parent in any area where this thing's going down my street, I'd be saying, look, hang on, fellas, can you assure me that my kids or the backyard or something else in my street is not going to have asbestos wafting around? And I really do think that this puts NBN and the rollout and the whole future of the thing in awful, awful trouble, because it required people to have confidence. And I think a lot of the community are going to say no, thank you.
It does sound like Telstra is doing the right thing. It's saying it will fund cases that come up from workers and contractors. The issue here is those contractors and subcontractors who are out there digging open the pits, and what training they've had and whether they're following practice.
That's right. And I think training is fantastic, and the protocols, all of that. But they tell me, the asbestos people, they tell me they cannot find the company and the workers who are tied up with this latest thing. They can't find them. And they're the people we should be finding first, because they're the ones who have been having a bath in asbestos.
All right, we're going to be talking to the head of the Asbestos Diseases Foundation, who was in that meeting this afternoon, next hour. Look, I want to move on to a couple of other issues. The pre-selection battle for the seat of Batman. David Feeney, the Gillard government frontbencher, who is, of course, famously involved in getting Julia Gillard into the job, is hoping to take Martin Ferguson's old seat of Batman, or soon-to-be old seat of Batman. David Feeney is, of course, going to struggle to hold on to his Senate position. He's number three on the Senate ticket in Victoria for Labor. But the argument's coming from Jenny Macklin and Penny Wong and others that it should go to a woman. The Labor Party has a rule that says 40% of candidates and seats should be held by women. At the moment in Victoria, only 27% of the candidates are women. The head of Plan International, Mary Ann Thomas, has put up her hand for this as well. Bruce, what do you make of all of this? Is David Feeney really the right person for this seat?
Well, we have a rule, as you just said, that says that 40% of the position should be held by women, and it's currently at 27%. So I think it's a bit of a no-brainer that the position should go to a woman. I mean, it's an extremely safe seat. I think it should go to somebody who's got real talent, ability. I'm not saying that David doesn't have that, but I think when you have seats of this that are this safe, it's really an opportunity to bring in somebody special from outside and say, okay, let's park you for a future spot on the front bench, just like we had with Brian Howe, who was a deputy leader of the Labor Party, member for Batman. Martin Ferguson, of course, we know was a very senior minister for many years. So that's my view on it. I think we should be sticking with the rules.
The argument from Martin Ferguson, funnily enough, and others, is David Feeney should be kept in there because there's likelihood that Labor will be left with not too many people after the election, and here's someone who has a bit of experience on the front bench. Grahame, what do you reckon?
Well, I'm actually just sorry to see Martin go. I think he's a decent sort of a bloke, and I think he's been a terrific minister. One of the few.
Yeah.
Look, Senator Feeney's had his go, and he hasn't achieved anything. He's left a sort of a stain on the political sheets by knifing Kevin Rudd and giving the Labor Party that political leadership genius, Julia Gillard, and that's it. You know, I just... And even in Victoria, his own colleagues have put him number 3 on the Senate ticket, an unwinnable spot. Even his Victorian mates don't want him. Why should the poor old people of Batman get lumbered with him?
We're running out of time, but I did just finally want to get both of your thoughts on Pauline Hanson putting her hand up again today for a crack. She's had 7 unsuccessful runs for various parliaments, but try again. She says that she's going to run for the New South Wales Senate seat. Well, Bruce, first to you. Any chance?
I doubt it. Although when you're picking up the last spot in the Senate, you can get it with as little as about 2.5%, which is what Madigan in Victoria got, the DLP member. So you know it's not impossible, but you know it's a pretty rancid political prescription that she's got there. It's been rejected in the past. I hope it'll be rejected in the future as well.
Grahame, what do you reckon her chances are?
I think the train has moved on from Pauline, but she's still trotting along the track trying to catch up to the caboose.
We sadly don't have time to talk about... I wanted to get your thoughts, and we'll do it next week perhaps, on Clive Palmer and Bob Katter's chances as well. Both are fielding candidates around the country, and it will be interesting to see in the Senate and some lower house seats as well how both of these Queensland-based candidates are going to go. We'll have to wrap things up there today, though. Grahame Morris, Bruce Hawker, thank you for joining us this afternoon. After the break, we will have...